Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today because we have some very exciting General Hospital news to talk about, and it's definitely worth the wait. I am not going to sugarcoat this because the more I sit with this story, the more unsettled I feel. Willow has crossed into a place that is truly frightening, and what makes it even worse for me is that she is still hiding behind the face of a gentle, wounded woman who only wants peace and family. I do not buy it anymore. Not for 1 second. To me, that soft look on the outside only makes the darkness underneath seem more dangerous. I have watched plenty of troubled people on this show make mistakes, fall apart, lash out, and do things they later regret. But this feels different. This feels colder. This feels planned. This feels like the kind of evil that keeps finding new excuses for itself and then calls the damage an accident. And Lord have mercy, that is exactly what chills me the most about Willow right now. What I keep coming back to is the way she betrayed Michael, then tied herself to Drew, and now may be the very reason Drew ends up ruined in the worst possible way. To me, that is not messy love or emotional confusion anymore. That is destruction, wearing a sweet face. I can already imagine people trying to say, Willow is broken, desperate, cornered, unstable, and sure, maybe there is truth somewhere in that. But being in pain does not excuse turning everybody else into targets. That is where I draw the line. Willow has started treating human beings like pieces on a chessboard. Drew became useful until he became dangerous. Nina became family until she became a threat. And now Trina and Kai may become the next loose ends that need to be silenced. I am sorry, but once a person starts sorting loved ones into categories like useful, disposable, and inconvenient, that is when I stop seeing panic and start seeing obsession. And I think that is why this whole story hits me so hard. Willow does not seem fully driven by rage alone. She is driven by the need to preserve the version of herself that she wants the world to believe. That is what makes her feel so unsettling. She is not just trying to escape consequences, she is trying to control the story. She wants to remain the mother who deserves Wiley and Amelia. She wants to remain the woman people pity instead of fear. She wants to remain the innocent one, even while the truth underneath her keeps getting uglier. I have seen this kind of character before in soaps, and when it is written well, it is terrifying because the character no longer hurts people by accident. She hurts them because in her own mind, their pain is the price of protecting what she believes belongs to her. That is not sorrow anymore. That is entitlement mixed with delusion, and honey, that is a bad, bad combination. The part that truly turned my stomach was Willow pulling Nina into this nightmare. A daughter dragging her own mother into a cover-up is ugly enough, but the way Willow seems willing to use Nina's love against her makes it even more painful. Nina promised not to expose her, and that promise says so much to me about how twisted this mother-daughter bond has become. Nina may think she is protecting her child, but from where I am standing, she is stepping into quicksand. The moment Willow decided Nina could be framed, blamed, or even sacrificed if necessary, that should have been the end of any illusion that family means safety around her. If Willow can do this to Nina, then nobody is safe. Not Michael, not Drew, not Trina, not Kai, not anyone who accidentally stands too close to the truth. That is why I do not see Nina's silence as loyalty. I see it as the first step into a trap. And then we get to Trina and Kai, and this is where the story starts to feel especially cruel. Because Trina, to me, is the kind of character whose pain always lands hard. She has heart, she has conscience, and even when she stumbles, she still carries a decency that makes viewers want to protect her. So the thought that one careless moment, one slip, one wrong glance could alert Willow that Trina and Kai know too much is enough to make my blood run cold. That is the danger now. It is not only the secret itself. It is the fact that Willow knows there are witnesses, and once Willow feels cornered, she does not seem to think like a loving mother or grieving wife or scared woman anymore. She seems to think like someone who is preparing the next move before the rest of the room even realizes a game is being played. Kai being pulled into this makes it even sadder to me, because it widens the circle of damage. It means Willow's madness is no longer contained within her marriage, her guilt, or her rivalry with Nina. It is spreading outward. It is reaching younger lives, other futures, other people who did not create this nightmare but may now be forced to suffer for it. And that is when a soap villain becomes truly disturbing in my eyes. Not when she commits one horrible act, but when her fear starts poisoning every corner around her. Willow may tell herself that each new victim is just collateral damage, just another necessary sacrifice to keep Wiley and Amelia. But I cannot hear that without thinking how far gone she must already be. Because once a person begins justifying cruelty as protection, there is almost no limit to what they will do next. What really grabs me about the 14th of April, 2026 developments is how blunt the truth has become. Willow confessed to Nina that she shot Drew. She also laid out that wicked plan to pin the sedation on Nina. That alone is enough to expose how calculated she has become. But the detail that really deepens the horror is her acknowledgement that two more people know what she did. She is not stumbling in confusion anymore. She knows exactly where the danger lies. She knows Trina and Kai have knowledge that could destroy her. And once she has identified them as threats, I cannot pretend this is just a guilty woman unraveling. This is a woman scanning the room for the next fire she needs to put out, and if she has to crush somebody to do it, she will tell herself it had to be done. That is what makes her so sickening to me now. The conscience is still there, just enough for her to feel regret, but not enough to stop. In some ways, that is even worse than feeling nothing. I also think there is something deeply tragic in the way Willow keeps wrapping all of this around motherhood. She is using Wiley and Amelia, not openly and not with cruel words, but with the logic in her mind. Every terrible thing becomes justified because she believes she is fighting to keep her children. That is what makes her spiral feel so warped. Love should protect innocence, but in Willow's hands, motherhood becomes a shield for brutality. I find that one of the darkest parts of this whole story, she is not simply harming people because she enjoys pain. She is harming them because she has convinced herself that her cause is righteous. And once someone starts believing that every sin is acceptable if it protects what is theirs, then no outsider is safe. Trina and Kai do not just know a secret. In Willow's mind, they may now represent the collapse of the life she is desperate to hold on to. The most painful thing for me is imagining how Trina and Kai might become prey in ways that are not immediately obvious. Willow does not even need to attack them in some loud, dramatic fashion for the damage to be severe. She could manipulate suspicion around them. She could isolate them. She could use emotional pressure, lies, fear, or carefully arrange situations that make them look unstable, guilty, or unreliable. That is why I think this story is so tense. The danger does not have to arrive with a scream. Sometimes on General Hospital, the scariest danger comes with a calm face and a quiet plan. That is exactly the kind of energy Willow is giving me now. She looks like someone who is falling apart, yes, but she also looks like someone who is still capable of choosing the next victim with a terrifying amount of clarity. And I have to be honest, I do not just fear what Willow might do next. I fear what this story says about how far she has already fallen. Once you can shoot Drew, frame Nina, betray Michael, and start calculating what to do about Trina and Kai, then the soul of the character is in a very dark place. Maybe there will come a day when she breaks down fully and the guilt crushes her. Maybe there will come a reckoning so severe that she finally sees the bodies, broken trust, and scorched lives she left behind. But right now, that is not the Willow I see. Right now, I see a woman who still thinks she can manage this, steer this, survive this, and keep everyone else under control. And that confidence, that stubborn self-justification, is exactly what makes her more dangerous with every passing moment. So yes, I absolutely believe Trina and Kai could be the next victims of Willow, not because they did anything wrong, but because they know too much at the worst possible time. That is how predators think when panic and obsession start running the show. And that is why this storyline has such a nasty edge for me. It is not just about a crime. It is about the sickness that grows after the crime, when one lie demands another and another, until the person at the center no longer recognizes the difference between protecting herself and destroying everyone around her. I look at Willow now, and I do not see innocence. I do not even see simple madness. I see someone who has let fear, selfishness, and control twist her into the kind of woman who can watch other people suffer and still whisper to herself that it is necessary. And that as folks would say back home, is where the whole thing goes clean off the rails. I have to say, this twist makes the story even more satisfying to me, because for once, Willow is not the only one planning in the shadows. She may believe she has trapped Nina, but what Willow does not realize is that Nina understands her far better than she thinks. That is what gives this direction real emotional weight for me. Nina is not simply a frightened mother standing by while her daughter sinks deeper into madness. She sees the truth now. She sees that Willow is no longer just desperate or unstable for a moment. Willow is becoming dangerous to everyone around her, and if nobody stops her, more lives will be destroyed. What I find so compelling is that Nina does not fight Willow in an obvious way. On the outside, she pretends to cooperate. She lets Willow believe they are still moving in the same direction and that she is willing to help finish off Drew for good. But underneath that false calm, Nina is making a very different choice. She is no longer protecting Willow by keeping her secrets. She is trying to save her by stopping her. To me, that is the strongest part of this story, because Nina finally understands that love cannot mean allowing your child to keep hurting people without consequence. And honestly, I think that makes Nina more powerful than Willow expects. Willow set a trap for her mother, but Nina quietly turns that trap around. Instead of letting Willow drag everyone deeper into fear and violence, Nina begins guiding her toward the one place where she cannot keep harming people. The idea of Nina secretly arranging to have Willow committed to a psychiatric facility feels harsh, yes, but it also feels tragically necessary. This is not revenge, this is intervention. Nina knows Willow has lost her sense of reality, and she refuses to let that spiral continue until someone else ends up ruined. That is why I do not see Nina here as cruel, even if her methods are cold. I see a mother making a painful decision because she finally understands that softness will not save Willow anymore. Willow needs to be stopped, restrained, and forced to face what she has become. And maybe that is the only path left that offers any hope at all. Because if Willow is locked away before she can strike again, then Drew may finally have a chance, Trina and Kai may be spared, and Willow herself may still have one last opportunity to wake up, reckon with her actions, and choose a life that means something better than fear, lies, and destruction.